Solar storms caused birds to lose their sense of direction. Not only that, but an airplane also lost control and crashed onto high-voltage power lines. Rescue teams arrived quickly, even though the power had been cut. Affected by the solar storm, induced currents still flowed. 3 people were trapped inside the aircraft. One of them was a seriously ill crew member. He laid out a rescue pad below. The captain instructed them to jump down one by one. Though it was a great height, there was no other option now. He handed the walkie-talkie to the woman and leaped down himself. The rescue team caught her safely. Next, it was the woman's turn, but she refused, not because of fear of heights, but because she couldn't abandon her husband. The leader reassured her, promising they'd find a way to rescue her critically ill husband after she jumped. Moreover, the high-voltage lines could ignite at any moment due to the solar storm. Her husband urged her to think of their children. For the sake of their children, the woman finally gathered her courage and jumped. Next, the captain prepared to rescue the gravely ill man. She donned insulated gloves and began climbing along the high-voltage line. Every second counted. Soon she reached the aircraft. The electrical current intensified nearby. They had to hurry and put on protective gear. With the captain's help, the critically ill man struggled into the protective suit. Then came the descent. The captain slowly lowered the man using a rope. The team kept a close eye on the nearby high-voltage wires. At the first sign of danger, they had to immediately alert the captain to evacuate. Soon, the critically ill man was safely lowered. Team members rushed to assist him. Just then, the distant electrical current surged. They shouted for the captain to jump down immediately. At the very last moment, the captain successfully jumped from the aircraft. Thankfully, it was a close call, but no harm done. Astronauts in space, lacking Earth's atmospheric protection, were exposed to intense radiation. A comrade beside him had already met his end. Due to electromagnetic interference disrupting communication devices, the surviving astronaut accidentally contacted the ground rescue center. With the operator's assistance, he managed to contact his family. He relayed all his bank card details to his wife before passing away forever. Meanwhile, on the storm-shrouded ground, ordinary lives descended into chaos and peril. Electrical devices began malfunctioning under the solar storm's influence. Streetlights flickered. This caused 2 cars to collide at an intersection, one crashing into a roadside fire hydrant. Bystanders rushed to help evacuate the passengers, but the driver was trapped. A man attempted to rescue him, but lacking tools, the rescue effort stalled. He ran outside, tore off the front bumper, and tried to pry open the steel pipe with it. Exerting too much force caused his wounds to reopen. The water level kept rising. At this critical moment, the car caught fire. He first grabbed a fire extinguisher to put out the flames, but the blaze was too intense to contain. He had to keep searching for ways to rescue the driver, now completely submerged by the rising water. He performed continuous mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, refusing to give up on the man. Just then, a hand rested on his shoulder. It was his father. The rescue team had arrived. The father first pulled his son from the vehicle, then successfully rescued the driver. To others, he was a hero, but to his father, he would always be a child. Seeing the driver safely rescued, he turned and embraced his father with joy. Just moments ago, an excavator accidentally struck a high-voltage power line during construction, electrocuting the operator in a life-threatening situation. Firefighters immediately evacuated nearby workers. One employee attempted to rescue him but was swiftly stopped by firefighters. The ground was electrified. One wrong step could be fatal. They instructed the man not to move randomly. Following the firefighters' method, he could only take 1 step at a time and ensure only 1 foot touched down each time. Inching forward bit by bit, he finally managed to jump out of the danger zone. Staff reported they had contacted the power company for assistance, which should arrive soon, but they couldn't wait any longer. The injured man above required urgent medical attention. Moreover, the voltage near the excavator was at least thousands of volts. If he fell, it could kill him instantly. They decided to raise the aerial ladder for a top-down rescue. All team members began worrying for them. As the ladder neared, it soon reached above the excavator. Since only one person could be brought up at a time, he had the team preparito rescue the injured first and quickly secure him with protective gear. Unexpectedly, the situation might be worse than imagined. The captain ordered them to evacuate immediately. Every moment delayed meant increased danger. They resolved to leave together. The team tightened the ropes and prepared, but the combined weight of 2 people proved too much. The team member quickly wrapped the rope around his arm. Gritting his teeth, he endured the strain as the team successfully pulled the injured man out of the danger zone. The moment they landed, medical personnel swiftly carried him onto a stretcher for transport to the hospital. Deep, bloody gashes were visible on the team member's arm from the rope's pressure. What had been a romantic wedding venue was now engulfed in flames. The fire spread rapidly. Firefighters, alerted by the emergency call, arrived swiftly at the scene. Chaos reigned. A frantic bridesmaid rushed over, pleading for help. She explained that 2 men had set off fireworks inside a tent, sparking the inferno. Half the guests were now trapped inside. The bride and groom were nowhere to be found. The firefighters immediately ordered them to charge into the tent. They urgently evacuated the trapped guests as the flames intensified. Firefighters discovered a severely burned individual whose skin had fused with melted fabric. They needed to rescue him for immediate medical attention. Others were trapped beneath the collapsed tent, and they swiftly extricated these victims. After searching, firefighters finally located the trapped bride at the other end. She had no idea where the groom had gone. On the other side, firefighters slashed open the tent and found the unconscious groom beneath. They worked together to rescue him and hoist him onto a stretcher. His pulse was faint. They administered oxygen immediately. The bride nearby was on the verge of tears. Thanks to their timely rescue, the man finally regained consciousness. But another person wasn't so fortunate. Melted fabric had fused with his skin, sealing his mouth shut. The patient had inhaled excessive smoke and urgently needed a tube inserted. Crew members carefully cut away the fabric above his throat with knives. They then brought a laryngoscope, inserted it into his throat, and successfully placed the oxygen tube. Seeing the man saved, the crew members finally breathed a sigh of relief. It must be said, this was truly an unforgettable wedding. Jack suddenly sneezed at home, and his intestines popped out of the wound. His wife Lisa panicked and called 911. When the fire department arrived at the scene, they were all stunned. When the paramedics asked Jack how he was injured, he pointed at his wife Lisa and said she did it. Lisa rolled her eyes. The captain asked Jack if he had undergone any surgery recently. Jack said he had an appendectomy last month. It seemed like the sneeze had reopened the wound. Lisa sneered. It's clearly your fault for lying. It turned out that the two had been arguing about divorce, and Jack had a peculiar condition. Every time he lied, he would start sneezing uncontrollably. Lisa believed that Jack had brought this upon himself. An angry Jack shouted, "I've never loved you." But as soon as he finished speaking, he sneezed again. Lisa suddenly froze in place. Didn't this prove that her husband was lying? She regretted her words and wanted to apologize, thinking she might have misunderstood him. At that moment, the paramedics rushed over and carried Jack onto the ambulance. Lisa ran over to apologize, saying she didn't want it to end like this and that they could start over. Jack also sincerely promised not to cheat on her again, but the next second, he sneezed loudly. The seemingly absurd family drama had just come to an end.
Liar!
Lisa, covered in blood, entered the fire station claiming she'd been raped. But after hearing her story, the firefighters felt sympathy for the rapist instead. It turned out Lisa had carried a small knife with her when she left home and stabbed the attacker while fighting back. Paramedics rushed to the scene to find the rapist with 4 or 5 stab wounds. Though they felt the bastard deserved it, they still had to do everything possible to save his life, otherwise Lisa would become a murderer. However, just as they loaded him into the ambulance to begin treatment, a stranger suddenly sat in the driver's seat.
Whoa, hey, what are you doing? You can't be. Drive! I said drive!
The rookie had no choice but to comply. Inside the ambulance, the paramedics nearly fell due to the sudden start of the vehicle.
Hey, Toby! Stop!
Do not slow down!
What are you doing?
Well, I have to slow down or they'll know something's wrong. They'll call the police.
They struggled to treat the patient amidst the jolting ride. Suddenly, the vehicle stopped. As they prepared to reprimand the rookie, the ambulance doors opened on their own. Everyone was stunned.
I want all the painkillers on this truck or I kill this kid.
David quickly tried to negotiate with her, saying, "This man is dying. Can you at least let us save him first?" But Lisa clearly wasn't someone you could reason with. With no other choice, they let the rookie board to retrieve the medicine. Unexpectedly, the rookie was so nervous he buckled at the knees and knelt down. This startled Lisa so much she raised her hand and fired a shot. She then threw caution to the wind and declared, "If you don't open the medicine cabinet now, I'll shoot you all." As the rookie's head was about to explode, David blurted out the password. The moment the cabinet opened, Lisa was overjoyed like she'd won the lottery. She grabbed all the morphine, stuffed it into her bag, and turned to run. But in her excitement, she failed to look both ways while crossing the street. David was utterly speechless. In this situation, he didn't even know who to save first. But soon, he didn't have to agonize over it. The rapist, delayed by Lisa's commotion, bled to death from his injuries. Lisa didn't fare much better. She hit the ground headfirst and met her maker instantly. She probably never imagined her life would end this way. In this absurd emergency tale, while the rapist deserved his fate, his right to life remained legally protected. Lisa, acting in self-defense at the start of the video, still took a life through her extreme actions. So, what do you think? Did Lisa cross the line?
Am I gonna go to jail?